everyone, I'm Pam, and today on Fireside Chats, I have guest professor, Professor Chen here, and he will be telling us about his experience as a professor at Purdue, and also his experiences outside of being a professor and his life at home. So let's get started. Professor Chen, will you tell us where you're from, where you have lived, and where you have been since you've been at Purdue?
Okay, I was born in Taiwan, and I lived in Taiwan until I was about 14. And then I left at about 14, and then I came to the United States in 1997, and went to a high school outside Chicago a few years, and then I came to Purdue. No, wait, 1994 is when I arrived. I came to Purdue in 1997.
Okay, and what is the subject you teach?
I teach math.
And how did you get into math? Was there like ever a moment when you won, like, I don't know, math competitions or?
No. So I majored in engineering, and of course math is the language of science and engineering. So I was, I guess, okay at it. And then I started teaching when I started my master's, looking for a way to pay the bills. So I became a TA in the math department. I started teaching there.
Okay.
And then when I was finishing up my PhD, that was 2010, a position opened up in the math department, and people told me about it. I applied it, and luckily I got it. So that's how I got here.
Okay, which discipline did you study for engineering?
Engineering.
Oh, okay, cool. And like, how did you get interested in that? Like, have you done any projects like during your undergrad with that?
Well, I've always liked things that flew, birds, airplanes, rockets, things that fly in the air, and so those things always fascinated me. And so I decided to get into that when I was choosing a major here at Purdue. Now, as far as research goes, I did a few research projects with the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, that's part of NASA, when I was doing my graduate studies. And then we also did a little bit of contracted work with a couple private companies, and then did one project with the physics department where we combined our knowledge to tackle a problem that they were working on. But since I graduated, I have not been doing anything research related in that field.
Right, okay.
I'm busy enough doing what I do now.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us more about your college experience. Like, I guess since you were at Purdue, I believe your undergrad, like what were you involved in? What was it like being a student, and how is that different from being a professor?
So, the first moment I stepped on Purdue campus, I thought, this is a great place, and I liked it immediately, and I was really excited to be going to Purdue. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the fact that this is such a diverse campus. You can see people from all over the world just by going outside. When I was here, we had a good football program, so that was great.
Oh yeah, must be nice.
We had legends like Drew Brees and Coach Tiller, Kyle Orton. And it was great. I had a lot of fun going to football games, and I'll forever remember the times when we got to rush the field.
Oh, okay.
I actually met Drew Brees in the middle of the field after one game. He would never remember that, but I will never forget that.
Wow.
And outside that, I knew Purdue had strong academics, and I knew I would be challenged, and I was challenged, and I enjoyed that. There were tough moments, but I enjoyed the challenge. And now I'm on the other side. I'm not a student anymore, and I often think back when I teach, and I often think back when I was where my students are today. What did I do? What should I have known back then that could have helped me? And I try to remember these things, and I try to pass some of that experience and knowledge onto them whenever I could. So, it's a great experience. It's a whole package. It's unforgettable.
Yeah. What would you say is like the biggest lesson you've learned as a student, and then what is the biggest lesson you've learned as a professor, if that's different, or maybe the same lesson learned over and over?
The lesson is to be open to anything, and never give up. Like I said, when I was a student, tough courses, tough projects. There were times that I thought about switching majors, stopping, and all these things. But now I look back, I'm glad I never stopped. So I think one of the most important lessons is to not give up, to just tough it out. But on the other hand, be open to opportunities. If things don't work out, then consider doing something else. Same thing today. Sometimes when I teach, things don't work out the first time, right? You remember I often ask people, does that make sense? I can tell by the expression on students' faces whether something makes sense. If that didn't work, gotta try something else. So I don't think that lesson has changed much. There's always a way to get the idea across, a better way, and not as good way. Find that and keep doing better.
So we're talking about, I guess, learning and not giving up. So there's moments of difficulty. In your college experience, when do you think, I guess, if you could go back, what would you change? What would be like a mistake, if you will?
I was a pretty good student in high school, so I thought I was like invincible in a way. I never knew how to ask for help when I ran into difficulties. But eventually, once I started getting help, asking for help, I realized that everyone here was on my side. Everyone here wanted to see me succeed. So, my advice to my students and everyone watching is don't feel bad about asking for help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength, right? And if you don't ask for help, you won't get help.
Right.
That's another thing about Purdue. You are on your own. We're not going to tell you what to do. No one's going to tell you what to do. No one's going to look over your shoulder, tell you to do your homework.
Right.
You're on your own, and that's the right way to do it. But when things don't work, when you run into difficulties, get help.
Okay. And so when students do come in and ask for help from you, how do you want them to perceive you? Because I know as a student, sometimes we don't want to seem stupid, or we don't want to seem like we're annoying you with our questions, and you must think, oh, this is so easy. So how do you want us to see you in the same way that we hope you see us, as smart and trying to be hardworking?
Well, first of all, I'm no smarter than most of you. I got good at what I'm doing today because I spend a lot of time. I work hard on it, and you can get to the same place just by doing the same thing. What I want the students to see me as is someone that's on their side. Like I said, when I realized very quickly as a student that my professors wanted me to succeed. Same thing today. You come to me, remember that I'm on your side. I get no pleasure in failing anybody, and actually I'm really happy when I look up someone's score and go, oh, look at that. That's a great score, and I know the student worked hard, and the student deserves that. So, and I still remember when I was learning the stuff I'm teaching today when I was a student. So I never think of any question or anyone as stupid. There's no one here is stupid. You wouldn't be at Purdue if you are stupid.
Right.
And if you're here, the questions you ask are not stupid. So, and I'm confident to say that almost everybody, if not everybody here, is like that. Right? We all want you to succeed. We'll try our hardest to help you, and we share your joy when you do succeed. And so just remember that, and don't feel like you're interrupting anything. We will make time for you.
Okay, that's nice to hear from Professor. Seeing as your students are, like, what are some things, like maybe traits that you see in certain students that have, I mean, the ones that you know that have graduated and become successful, what are some traits you see early on that, like, indicate that they will be maybe more successful?
There are many things, perseverance, willingness to work hard. Now, to me, I think one of the biggest things that I like to see and really glad to see is curiosity. If a student is curious about something, this student is willing to learn and is not afraid to learn new things. You know, I often hear students ask, well, why am I learning blah? I will never use it. Okay, that's a very fair question. And if you ask me that question, I'll do my best to answer that. Now, sometimes the answer to a question like that is nothing more than, well, you'll never use it, but it'll be on the exam 3, so you better do well enough with it.
Right.
Now, sometimes there are more complicated answers to those questions. Now, what I really like is when a student comes to me and say, today you talked about this in class. Now, could this be used to do blah? Those are interesting questions that often make me think about, can that be done? And even though I can't always answer questions like that, if a student does ask a question like that, then that tells me the student is curious, is willing to reach out and learn more stuff. And the more you learn, the more you see how things connect that you would never expect. So be curious. I think that's one of the key factors to doing good things.
Cool. As in, like, stepping away from, like, academic world, we're talking about your life outside of being a professor. What are things you enjoy doing that, like, maybe students don't expect professors doing, like hobbies you have that make you human, if you will?
Well, am I human? I have a pulse. So, well, of course, when we're in front of students, it often look like we have nothing besides that in our life, and that's so not true. I play a lot of video games, and my wife does too. So we play a lot of video games. We used to spend 2-3 hours every night playing with other people online. So that's fun stuff. I also like gardening. I have rose bushes that I take care of, and I like them. And I have a dog and a cat. So I am pretty human, I would say. And I'm trying to teach myself to play the ukulele.
Okay.
So, and that's going okay.
Pursuing different interests.
It's going okay, yeah.
So to wrap this all up, and since we're talking about life in general, like you have a life, we have a life as students and professors, what is a piece of advice that you'd give students in regards to, like, life in general, not just academics, like being focused, being curious and hardworking? What's something that you would say, like, having had more experience and years on us as students?
My advice is to be balanced. You are here as a student first actually, but you're also here as a person, a member of a big community. And balance things. When you're in class, when you're doing your homework, when you're studying, do the best you can. But when it's time to enjoy your time off to play hard. Don't get so involved in just the academics. You'll burn yourself out. You won't be having fun. Now, if you do things right, even when things get tough, you should still be having fun. Reach out, make friends. You remember in my class, I tell people to make friends. Make friends and find things to do. If you like playing video games, look for people that play video games with you. If you don't know if you like playing video games, check it out. You might like it.
Right.
Develop, find out what you're interested. This is a time in your life that you're shaping yourself as an adult and into the kind of person that pretty much will be who and what you are for the rest of your life.
Right.
Ask yourself, what do you want to be? And try to make that happen. And this is a great place where you have the opportunity to do a lot of things that you will want to do. And skydiving, for example. Now that's one thing when I look back, I probably should have tried that. And now I'm a little older, not as fit as I used to be.
It's not too late.
I don't know if I want to do that. But like I said, try things out. Right? Don't do anything stupid, but also within confine.
Yeah, of course.
Within reason, be adventurous. Don't just be one-dimensional.
All right. Well, thanks for coming. Thank you for your time and sharing your wisdom.
Pleasure to be here.
And thanks for watching.